Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 2021 York Place Homeowners Association annual meeting. Thank you for coming out this evening. It is 6:32. We will go ahead and get the meeting started. So we'll call to order. Our first item of business will be the final call for ballots. We just received a couple, but does anybody else have another ballot? No ballots there. So we have 37 ballots in and counted. We have to have 32. For the bylaws, they say we need 30%, so that's 32. The final results from all the ballots, we have Elizabeth Blevins with 9, George Hornberger with 27, Erica Rohrbaugh with 20, and Mike Wright with 29 votes. So the three positions, if you choose to accept them, would go to George, Erica, and Mike. And Elizabeth, you said that you're new to the community, correct? So first of all, thank you. We need more people that are willing to get involved and help. So as we go forward, we have board meetings every 6 to 8 weeks or so. And if you're interested in sitting in on those as we go along, by all means reach out. We'll invite you. Sometimes there's Zooms, sometimes we go to Stony Lake, whatever. You're more than welcome to do that. In positions, every year, this next year there'll be 2 positions open. So if you're still interested in that, by all means put your name in again. But you're more than welcome to come to those meetings. Obviously, if we voted on something, you wouldn't be able to vote, but you're more than welcome to provide input. And that goes for any of you. So that is the final tally for the election for this year. So if we move on then to item number 3 on the agenda, the 2021 year in review. We'll just kind of go around and if you want to speak up on the issues there, but the first thing we have is the financial report, which would be Mike Johnston.
Hello everyone, Mike Johnston, co-treasurer on the board. As far as HOA collections this year, we've got 105 of our 106 homeowners that have paid and are current, so we're just tracking down one final payment, and it's neighbors that pay every year, so it's not concerned. We should end up at 100% of HOAs collected. And everything else, expense-wise, stayed pretty much in line with the exception of some landscaping, and mulch was about 3 times the cost of what we had budgeted for just from the pandemic. Everything shot up and was inflated, mulch included, so it was about 3 times the amount that we had initially budgeted for, but we used Dan Boswell's services, and I thought they did a pretty good job laying the mulch this year. Also, we didn't really know where to budget our pond maintenance for this year because it's historically been something that we've kind of deferred and haven't really addressed. So we had a budget line item, I think, in 2020 for the pond maintenance of $1,500. It ended up coming in at about $5,200, I believe. So a little bit more than we were expecting, but there's actually a lot more to do. So we're going to have to come up with a plan to continue to address it to get the ponds whipped into shape. Aside from that, we should end up we're at $23,131 in the accounts as of yesterday, and we should end up at around $19,717 when it's all said and done as we close out the fiscal year. And as far as the 22 budget, everything's going to pretty much stay in line with the exception of the pond maintenance. We are going to figure out how much can be allocated from the available reserve funds towards beautifying the ponds.
Yep, we have that on the agenda a little bit later.
Perfect.
In the meeting as well.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Any questions?
Oh, any questions?
Any budget questions?
What's the bank fees?
Bank fees are PayPal fees typically, and with the changeover of the one bank to another, we had a bank merge, and there was a couple months there that they were charging us fees just for the account level of the checking that we had, and we weren't keeping the necessary funds in there. The bank we were at needed us to keep $1,000, I think, and this bank ended up being $5,000 for the minimum, and we were accruing a couple $5, $10 fees here and there until we caught it.
So there's some monthly fees involved?
There is, yeah, yeah. And then the PayPal fees, any of our homeowners that are willing to pay online, there's a fee for that, so.
You know what bank is that?
We're at level 1, and it was Ann Arbor State Bank. I'm sorry?
Look at the Old National Bank, they have a free checking account.
We have not. Yeah, that's good to know.
Oh, let's put that.
For business, because I think technically we have to have a business account.
We do.
Yeah, it's free. It's free checking account. I mean, there's a different level. but there's
Old
a free
National.
checking account.
Mikkel would know since he goes to Imperial.
And that would be nice. It's in town, because right now I'm going up by Costco and the roundabout to get to that one, so.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank
Any other
you.
questions? All right, moving on, the mailbox makeover round 2.
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Mr. Wright.
So just a little history on that one. A couple years ago, we were looking at ways to improve the aesthetics of the neighborhood. Always keeping in mind, doing things for the entire neighborhood in ways that could increase our home values, keep them up, and keep us one of the most competitive neighborhoods, out there. So a couple years ago, we noticed really a lot of deterioration of mailboxes throughout the neighborhood. And we came up with a program in which we could, give some of the homeowners fees back if people were willing to reinstall a new mailbox. We would give it to them for free. So 2 years ago, we got about 51 takers on the program. And it made a nice, we thought made a nice difference as you drive throughout the neighborhood. And then this past summer, we decided to do phase 2. And we ordered 12 mailboxes, and we have delivered and the homeowners have installed 11 of those 12. We have 1 remaining if anybody's interested in it and hasn't used the program in the past, they'd be welcome to it. So that's what that mailbox makeover round 2 is. We may do it next year if we get takers. Liz?
Is it the, which mailbox? I thought I read about this. Is it just the plastic?
Yeah, it's the black step 2 one.
Oh.
Yep.
Yep, black step.
Yep. All right, thank you, Mike. Number 3, the mulching of the neighborhood. We do that generally every couple of years. Did it this year. We did both entrances and then all the islands, and looked great when they were done. So we probably will not do it this next year. So generally we'll do it every 2 years, but it was done this year, and I think it looks really good. Any other comments on that from you guys?
Just thank you to the homeowners that helped out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we had Boswell delivered it all and dumped it at the cul-de-sacs. And then we saved quite a bit of money by them not spreading it. So the homeowners around those courts just went out and knocked it all out. So certainly thanks to them, for sure.
Yeah, and we did multi-bid that as well.
We did.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
It was expensive all
Yeah.
around.
Mulch is
Expensive
not
all the way
cheap.
around.
Yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't cheap.
Yes. I don't. I would have to go back and get the quote.
What did
from
we
Dan.
pay for?
$6,100 was the cost for the mulch to be delivered.
And the last time we did it?
It's about, I can grab that from our prior year budget. $1,370.
Yeah. So that was.
When it comes time, please reach out. I know a lot of landscapers in the area, and I'm sure I can persuade them into something with a discount, probably better than what Boswell can give you.
Okay. Sure.
So,
Sure.
Yeah.
Very good. Like I say, it won't be next year, but in '23 we will again. So absolutely. We'll take one, and you'll see as we go along. Another one of the things, quotes are not the easiest thing to get, but we'll touch on that in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything to do with like lawn care or anything else like that. If you ever want any quotes, I'm happy to, look at that stuff for you guys. It's like I said, between relatives and
Yeah.
whatever else in the business. Don't get me wrong, it's not conflict.
Yeah. No. It will.
The best price.
Yeah, we'll we'll circle back to that in a few, but there are serious issues with getting bids. Number 4, the culvert concerns, specifically the culvert at the entrance of the Melbourne side.
Yeah, I can take that one.
You want that?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
So Erica and I were working on this one. Is it the Washtenaw County Drain Commission?
Yes.
I think it is.
Good job.
Yeah, WCDC. Eric had brought to our attention that in phase 1, in particular, there were several culverts where the collar had kind of come off of the pipe. And the culverts are, under the road drainage pipes for drainage and irrigation, I guess.
Mhm.
So we,
There were sinkholes.
yeah, they're creating
Clear down through.
sinkholes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got with the WCDC and, took images and requested them to come out and repair them. So there was 4 that they came out and fixed. One is in York Court,
Fremantle Court had one, and then the rest were along Melbourne.
yeah, along Melbourne, and then 2 up front at the phase 1 entrance.
So if anyone sees any more, though, I mean, that'd be great to let us know, and what was it? See it, fix it, or what's the
Yeah.
app called?
Yeah, see it, click it, fix it.
Click it, fix it.
Through Washtenaw
Yeah.
County Road Commission.
Yeah, you just submit it through there, and they follow up on it
Right,
eventually.
that's who we have to contact to do the weeds along Willis, like when you try to pull out a sub and look right, or at least our
Yeah,
side.
along the
you can't
road.
see. So finally, they came through like 2 months after and sprayed it with like Agent Orange or something and killed it all.
Yeah.
So, took a while, but it happened.
On behalf of the county, I would like to say they did not use Agent Orange.
No.
Sure wasn't helpful.
I'm sure it was not, no. Number 5, we touched on a little bit earlier, but pond preservations.
So pond preservations, I'll take that. I'm Erica Rorabaugh. So there are a few drainage retention ponds that we have within our neighborhood that are in community areas. 2 of them are somewhat dry, and then 2 of them actually retain water on a regular basis. And so we've been working on trying to get them back into shape. They're slowly being overtaken by cattails, willow, and all kinds of weeds. So this summer we had Miguel's Ground Maintenance come in, and they did the east pond. So it would be east of Melbourne Drive, south of Fremantle Court. It's clear on the east side of our community. And they brush hogged around the entire pond, took it clear to the water. So as of right now, there still is some cattails within the water part of the pond. However, it's cleaned it up. It's allowed for the actual path that goes around the pond to be more accessible. We got a lot of feedback from neighbors that back up to that pond, that they were very pleased with how it happened, and that it looks really nice. So now our intention is to do the south pond. So it would be north of Willis, east of Fosdick. And you can kind of see it from the road. So we had them do the same kind of work there. However, that pond is a lot worse off. So we need to do more work. So we spent about the same amount of money on that pond, but didn't get the same amount of results. That it is just so much more foregone. And so we're looking to continue this work next year, working with the ground maintenance crew and trying to get our ponds back to visibly appealing, and so that our community areas look nice.
Is the program that's meant to kind of rebuild the ponds, is that like a county program or?
So as far as what it stipulates in the bylaws, there is a program that they recommend that you do for the drainage easements and maintaining it. However, it's not them that do it. It is up to us to find a program to make it work. Honestly, I think the ponds had just kind of gotten forgotten about, especially there's one, the far west side. I believe it's behind your house, right?
Yeah.
And it pretty much, it's a really deep retention, but it's mostly dry all year long. So it's overgrown and has kind of just been taken over again by
Lots of weeds.
by weeds. So last year we had it brush hogged. I'm not sure, did they hit it again this year?
As of
They were
today,
s-
Boswell said they hit all of it twice.
They hit it twice.
So
Okay.
far.
So we're trying to get it back, just to clean it up and keep the weeds down in that instance. And then the field on the north side of the property, I call it a field because it's not really
Yeah.
a retention area. It's the same thing. It's just a field that's kind of grown up, and we just have it brush hogged a couple of times a year. So it's the pond side of it that actually retain water. We're trying to do it in a way that we're not going to affect the wildlife that's in there. There's a lot of turtles, ducks. I have cranes in my backyard all the time, you know, so there's a lot of ecosystems still happening in the water ones. So we don't want to dig them out dig the cattails out. We're just trying to find a way to get back to it.
Thank you, Erica.
Is there any other questions? I know that was kind of just a summary.
My interest in the question is more so of, you know, are we following a structured program, or is it just Miguel coming in to cut down the cattails?
Yeah. So the structured program is definitely more focused on one that holds water all year round and is a great water source. The pond on the east side of the property, which is located behind my home, we've had a lot of water this summer, so it looks great. However, usually it gets to the point where I almost feel it's going to dry up, usually, in the
Didn't
summer.
the pond guys come
So-
out? Wasn't that the name of the company, the pond guys?
I actually could not get them out because of the pandemic.
Somebody gave us like a pretty detailed
Oh, I did,
instructions on what to do, how to make it look, and what needed to be done.
They did one through email. That I did that, and that would then be probably the next step once we get everything brush hog. It would be about treating the cattails with an environmentally friendly a serum, I guess you could call it, and herbicide, and then also treating the ponds themselves to keep algae down. Yeah.
Right, so this year we
So
took a
it's just-
machete to it, next year
Yeah.
we'll take a scalpel.
This year was just a hack at it, just to get it back in shape. And like I said, it was more of, they kind of just had been forgotten about, and now we're trying to get them back.
And I guess I'd just say it's definitely on our radar and something that we want to maintain as a asset to the neighborhood, but we're resource constrained too. To go in there and brush hog it or to treat it or do anything, it's not cheap.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
Mhm, yeah.
I was kind of curious.
Yeah.
So we're doing what we can with the little budget we have, really.
I will say probably what spurred us on the most was the pond that was maintained on the south side of Willis, there across from our neighborhood. You know, you couldn't see that pond at all, and then they cleaned it up. So we approached them to ask them about that company, how much it cost to do what they did, and it was over $8,000 for just that one pond. So we're trying not to reach that with one pond. So.
Thank you, guys. Number 6, the bylaw reminder letters issued to all homeowners. We sent out, I believe it was 44, we sent out a
53.
letter,
It was
so we sent out
53,
the notice or whatever to everybody. So everybody got the letter, saying, here's what we need to do, here's how we do it. Was it 53?
Yeah,
So
the
we sent out
53 was the original number.
53 initial letters, violation letters as to a whole spectrum of things that may have been violations for specific homes, so 53 different homes. We have pretty solid compliance with that. There are 12 left that will be getting another letter again this week. The goal in all these is not to fine people, not to argue with people, it's just to get them to comply with the bylaws.
Yeah.
So from 53 down to 12 is pretty good. We'll send another letter. If by chance those homeowners then don't comply, the next step would then be the first fine and then a second fine and then go from there. But more often than not, by the time we get to that, the homeowners will remedy whatever it is. And most of them are overgrown bushes, overgrown weeds, dead trees, things along that line. There are a few homes that have numerous concerns. But again, we'll send those letters out, and if we get the compliance, great. If we don't, then we'll send the letters and the fines, and then we'll just keep going from there. So it's generally a lengthy process. And then often it's a process where, if MJ gets the violation letter and remedies the situation and then lets it all go again, we can't just start at phase 2. We have to start all over again. So sometimes it looks like we do nothing when in reality we've done something, they fixed it,
Yeah.
let it go again, and then we have to start all over. So lots of times it looks like things haven't been done when they have, but again, we'll do the best we can do with it. And if you have specific concerns or specific homes, just shoot us an email. And we'll go out and all we need is a house number and a street.
Yeah.
And we'll go out, we'll check it out, and we'll send them a letter. So we're happy to do that. If we miss something, by all means, feel free to do that.
And, I have submitted, I'm sure you probably already aware to Erica, a pretty lengthy list. I've been in the neighborhood 17 years, so I'm one of probably very few of the original people that moved in there. And, this is the first board meeting I've been to, in all honesty. And that's because it's the first time I've really had concern about what's going on. And we are taking a deep dive in terms of the aesthetic appeal of our neighborhood right now. We have tons of temporary structures in people's front yards, side yards. We have cars that are parked in driveways for years on end. We have campers, we have trailers. I mean, myself, I have a storage unit, which I pay quite a bit of money on a monthly basis to make sure I'm in compliance with the bylaws. And I would expect everybody else to do the same. And, you kind of just take a look. Even some of the more simple things, like people mow in their yard, and it looks like a hayfield, right?
Yeah.
You have a bunch of dead vegetation, and then they blow it into the street. All it takes is one youngster on a bicycle to hit that grass and wipe out, this HOA's in big trouble, all of us, right? There could be a lawsuit. And that's the number one thing right now is, motorcycles hitting grassy patches and people blowing it into things, and it causes accidents. So we have a lot we gotta make sure that we're following up on and making sure that it happens, because number one, safety's first, right? The second thing is the burning of leaves, right? And in bylaws, it says there's no outside incineration of anything. And I came home yesterday or the day before, left my windows open, and my house was filled with leaf smoke, right? From a guy down the street burning leaves, right? Beautiful day, I can't leave my windows open because he's decided to burn leaves. There's just a number of those types of things that I think we really have to stay on people on. And, while we don't want to overdo it, right? Because, some of these bylaws are antiquated, like making sure your garage doors down except for when you go in and out of the driveway, or making sure you don't park your car in the driveway, they can only be in the garage. That type of stuff's pretty antiquated, I get it. But there are other things, simple things, trimming, right? I've got a neighbor that has, I measured it, 16-inch leaves around the gas pipeline that's the, that applies the gas pipeline. They're just, and then, then you go down the road and you're skidding through grass, and they blow it out in the middle of the street. At some point, we really got to come down a little bit harder on these people, because 17 years ago, I moved into this neighborhood based on bylaws, right? I wanted to move into a neighborhood that was going to be managed and upheld to a standard, and the standards no longer exist. And I know we took a little break because of the pandemic, but it's been 2 years. So, whatever, I'm glad to help. People want to, if they need resources, I'm glad to point them in the direction of where to go. There's tons of places out there to help get this stuff done.
I just have a quick question. Being a new homeowner.
Certainly.
And, I might have a few weeds because I'm really tired of picking out weeds. Is there just a little grace period too? Because it's now November and I'm like, okay, next spring I'll be ready because snow's coming, right? Is there, because I'm brand new and bought the house, and I think they kind of, and I completely understand, I think they let it go a little bit because they're like, we're moving, what do we care? And then I moved in and I was like, this is a lot of stuff. So I just wondered, I tried to look in the bylaws, how, do we have a little time? I'm ready next spring,
Elizabeth,
I'm
what's your
thinking
address?
those weeds are growing.
What's your address,
I'm
Elizabeth?
on Victoria Court,
Okay.
622.
Okay. In fact, I just drove the neighborhood yesterday. New homeowners, yes, there's definitely a leeway for you. The first letters that we sent out that we made reference to was more of a, like, kick you in the butt, like, get everybody, like, reminded what's going on. Scott made mention to the 12 that we still have going on, and those are kind of like our big hit items we'd like hit this year. Now we have some minor issues that we have on a list still that we kind of felt can wait till the spring since it is getting late in the season. I have my fall cleanup still to do in my flower beds. I've done everything but that, you know, so you're given a little bit of leeway. We definitely try not to fine that, you know, like we said. Also, if there's something going on, or like say you get a letter, shoot us an email about what's going on, you know, or if you need help, or if you need the Boy Scouts of the neighborhood to come over and help get you started, like that kind of thing. You know, we're here to help, not dictate, you know, but there are homes in the neighborhood that we are definitely going to have to crack down on and get it going and try to get compliance. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you've gotten a letter, send us an email about everything. You know, if you feel you need time, you know, that lets us know that you're thinking about it and that the letter hasn't been ignored. You know, that's what we like, the feedback. We like the interaction to go forward.
Right. And hope for snow.
Yeah.
I gotta say, as far
It was
as
free.
I don't see clumps of grass on my side. I mean, I blow mine into my yard, but if you see
Yeah.
that, maybe if you know who's doing it, just say, hey, dude, blow this back into your yard.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever
Yeah.
had a fire, tell them to put it out or call the fire department. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not police.
Yeah.
We're just trying to do
I
the
walked
best we
down
can.
there and it was just burning by itself.
Right.
And, you know, you also gotta be careful too, right? I mean, people in this day and age, if you go knock on the door and say you don't like what they're doing, they can come, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
harass them.
Call the fire department.
Well,
It needs to
so
be followed in a structured manner.
we did follow up on the leaf burning laws for York Township itself, since there's no specific mention of it within our bylaws. And York Township has rules and regulations to leaf burning. But one of the big things that you can do if you have a big concern, you call the fire department.
Yeah. Well.
And then they handle it.
Within the bylaws, and I actually went through, and it's on page 17, the bottom, item R, this is refuse and garbage. It says, no outside storage of refuse or garbage or outside incinerators shall be permitted.
Yeah, I
So
don't know
that's
that we.
garbage incinerator,
Yeah, I don't-
right?
Leaves is waste. That's what it is. Leaves is waste.
So let's not get too down the wrong. We did take a look at it. We went to the law. Your township allows leaf burning, so I think you might be misinterpreting the bylaws. It's not, okay, we think you might be,
How's that?
because it's not an incinerator.
An incinerator is burning of waste.
I think an incinerator would be like a 55-gallon drum that you put your garbage in. and light
Yes,
on
that's how
fire.
we're
I'd be glad
interpreting.
to pay a lawyer to look at it.
Well, we had a lawyer also look at it, and what's the say
What's his name?
that, what's a slippery slope that doesn't say it's not a, somebody
his
having a
name?
fire outside?
I'll have my lawyer contact him.
Okay,
What's his name?
who's our lawyer?
Which one do we want to?
The one that reviewed this.
Hold on, let's,
Somebody reviewed
Scott,
I don't-
this,
Scott,
he just said-
let's stick to
this-
the
excuse
agenda.
me,
We're not at open dialogue yet. We're going
Yeah,
through,
let's,
we're going through
well-
right now our 2021 in review.
Well, I understand, but you just told me a lawyer. and I've
We
had
have a lawyer on
board members
retainer.
lied to me before. You just said a lawyer.
I'm not lying,
It's
I'm
not
just
a lie.
saying that
It's
we're,
not a lie.
The law,
we
so a lawyer
discussed
has
it,
reviewed this specific.
we have a lawyer on
incident.
retainer, we discuss it amongst ourselves. What's to
We
say
did
it's not,
discuss
a
this
bonfire
with
out
the
back
lawyer, yes, we
isn't
Okay,
a
great.
fire?
All I'm asking is for a name for that person.
It's a neighbor in our community.
So it is.
I'm not sure,
It's a-
we need to
it's a-
discuss with her if she's willing to take on it versus the other lawyer that we have.
A lawyer in the neighborhood is not a lawyer retainer. A lawyer retainer is that one that's actually been a cash deposit down to represent.
We also
the
have one
best
of those, right,
interest
Mike?
Not on retainer, no.
It's
We've
not on
used a
retainer.
lawyer
We
in
use
the
them
past
for the
for filing of
liens.
liens where homeowners weren't in compliance with paying their dues. Not on retainer, though.
And I'd be glad, you know, I mean, have you ever had a house full of smoke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not fun. It takes days for it to dissipate.
Well, that's not just our neighborhood, that's.
This one was two doors.
So what about somebody having a fire with logs in their fire pit?
But the entire neighborhood was covered. This area.
No, this was so thick, you could barely see. And within our neighborhood, it's what we can control.
All right, well, let's table this until the end when we open up for more discussion so that we can get through our agenda and then we can come back to this.
Number 7, we are looking at the 2022 bids for mowing and weeding. This is where I said that we'd circle back to you. So I went out to get 4 bids for this. Aaron's said they would not put a bid in, they didn't want the business. Miguel's said that he would do it. I have not seen a bid from him. I didn't write it down, A1 something.
Yeah, A1.
A1, I think it was, would not do a bid, they didn't want the business. And Boswell, we have their bid. So out of 4 companies for bids, we have exactly 1. So, you know, if we're going to get another bid, by all means, we can do that. But if there's somebody that wants to bid it, it would have to be very quick.
Or do you have a recommendation?
You know, Miguel's a good guy, he does good work. He actually does the sister subdivision down the street. I will text him and encourage him to get his bid in. He's very reliable and does exceptional work, he's great to work with. So-
Would he do the snow maintenance as well, or do we still have to have a separate snow maintenance?
We already have the snow maintenance for this year.
Well, I meant like,
Going forward?
yeah,
I-
for the
Miguel,
next
I don't
year's.
know.
Okay.
I don't
He
know.
does do snow.
I don't know that. I mean, most of the places do, but I
He
don't
does,
know.
yeah. Yeah, we tried to get him to bid.
Did
but-
you ever reach out to Macintosh Grounds Maintenance, Scott?
I can, if
Okay,
you
I'll
want,
send
I
it to
can
you
ask
again.
Kevin's landscaping. Somebody I know, Colorosa Landscaping as well, both of those, I could ask to get bids. Now, more than likely, I think Miguel's gonna be the one that's gonna be more aligned to where Boswell is. So that's why,
Yeah, like I said, I mean, he's been contacted.
yeah, I'll text
Yeah.
him.
Okay.
I've asked Kevin's like years ago, and it was, they weren't interested in it, but times may have changed since the last time I talked to them. But that, I was just reminding Scott, there was a Macintosh Grounds Maintenance, I've seen around local that we'll probably reach out to as well.
I think the point there is we are trying to get competitive bids every couple of years on the ground maintenance. But
Mhm.
You
just,
know, Boswell may be the cheapest because he, you know, he knows the business, he knows what it costs. and,
Yeah.
You know, he may be.
yeah.
I think it was also more though that he's gotten used to us always using him, so the quality of work has been lacking this year. So we wanted to reach out and get more,
He's-
and let him know also that we were also looking.
I had some trouble with him on plowing. He did about $1,000 worth of damage on my yard. And wouldn't even return my phone calls.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah.
We are saving money by paying per snowstorm versus just a bulk rate.
Yeah, especially with the snow we've had.
Yeah, since it never snows anymore.
Yeah.
Number 8, the B&K sprinkler winterization. We've done that the last maybe 5 or 6 years now. We had about 40 homeowners that took advantage of that over 3 days. A few weeks ago, Rick came in, did all the homes for $45, which he's done, like I say, the last maybe 5 or 6 years. It's worked out really well, so, but that's done, and we'll look at doing it again next year. We've looked at doing startups, but there are so few people that generally want to do that. It's not worth his time to come in and do 1 or 2 at a reduced rate, so we haven't bothered with that. I can certainly reach out if people wanted to, but they're just, like I said, there's so few people that are interested in doing it, it's not worth it for him.
Yep.
Number 9, the Halloween in the garage sale. Anybody want to touch on that?
No, just,
Other
I
than,
mean,
you know,
my kids had fun.
yeah.
and there weren't, I don't know about the Melbourne side, but man, the Sydney side, there was nobody. There was nobody.
Lowest attendance since
Yeah,
we've
it
moved
was-
in.
There was nobody.
Is there just that less kids in the neighborhood right now?
There aren't many.
Could be that. It was
They might be
not the
aging
best
out, but-
weather either, so I think that might have
I
played.
mean, my 13-year-old wanted to go somewhere else. He wanted to do like a neighborhood where the houses were like tight
Close
together,
together.
and they could hit as many as possible. My 11-year-old still likes to do the whole hood, so it's just. But yeah, it was a low attendance. I don't know if maybe it's just still
Sunday
COVID and people.
Sunday night. so-
Sunday night.
It was
There
Sunday
were-
night
there were
as
a bunch
well,
of
yeah.
factors, I think, but oh well.
All the factors kind of played into it.
All right.
Garage sales seemed to be successful though. There's how many homes did we have this year?
I
Half a
never know
dozen?
how many participate. I always do it, but yeah, I think we had probably half a dozen or so.
Garage sale is one item that's not actually, it kind of slips off people's radar. I know there's a lot of people want to do it, it's like, oh, that was this weekend. Didn't
Yeah.
know
And they
about it.
forget.
Yeah. We try to put the signs out at
Like the
4
mo-
points.
The Monday before.
Yeah, the Monday before, so it's out for the whole week, showing the dates we're gonna do the sub-wide sale. We do a Craigslist ad and blast it out on the social media, on Facebook,
Email, and it's on the website.
email and on the
Yeah.
website as well. But yeah, I don't know what we could do different there.
Maybe included in the annual
Yes.
dues notice, we include like a slip with like our dates. So maybe
Yeah.
we could get the dates finalized ahead of time, more earlier, I
Mhm.
guess really, so that we can include like garage sale date and any other like dates that we need to include for the year.
We can do that. All right. Number 10, the drain that goes under Sydney,
That's
between Hobart and Victoria. There are
on
white,
the west side, yeah.
white rocks on both sides of the drain, especially on the west side. Over all the years, they've sort of sunken down, and now there's very few, or you see very few. We're going to put a whole bunch of new white rock on both sides.
At the request of a homeowner they made.
Yeah.
That's Boswell, right?
Yep, so Boswell's dumping those, but both of his dump trucks apparently are in the shop. So once the dump trucks are out of the shop, the rock will get dumped and then spread.
placed,
So
yeah.
sometime in the next few weeks, when you drive through there, you'll
Hopefully,
see much
yeah.
much brighter white rock there. But that was planned a couple of months ago, and then we had put it off, and then he had the issues with the trucks. So again, sometime in the next few weeks, we should see that if you go back and forth through that area. As we look forward into 2022, things that we're going to talk about as we go into next year, some utility box beautification. You want to hit that?
I contacted DTE. It was like a 6-month process of trying to ping pong between people. Finally, somebody replied. Some guy drove the neighborhood. I gave him a list of boxes that were pretty heinous looking, and they just came back to us and said, "We're not touching them. Deal with it." So I think I asked you about the spray paint. We're probably going to just go buy some forest green spray can paint and just do it ourselves. We'll get the homeowners who have boxes who want to participate and just go out and spray them up, maybe tape off the stickers so that it doesn't cover up the little warnings, and have at it. So,
I thought we
because
weren't allowed to paint them.
we're not, but they came out, and I just think it's off their radar. They don't want to deal with it. So, I mean, probably for liability purposes, they don't want us touching their boxes, but unless you want to have a rusty box for however long you remain in your home, I guess you got to take it in your own hands.
So it's not a decision yet, just an idea for
Yeah.
2022.
Because a couple homeowners in the front of
Melbourne.
side painted theirs forest green. It looks pretty good. So
And really, when they came out and looked at it, they didn't make any mention to how they had been painted. They didn't care.
Right.
Even though they tell us we're not supposed to touch it, they made no mention to, well, those have been painted, you know, so.
It also said, don't plant anything within a 10-foot radius or something like that.
Yeah.
Everybody has stuff planted around them, or at least half of them have stuff,
Yeah.
so they didn't even mention that.
Yeah, so we shared the information they shared with us, but I think we're just kind of like, well, if they don't care, then what are they gonna do once it's painted?
Let me know.
Okay.
Did anybody say anything to you guys?
I don't even notice.
Yeah,
Looks
I
good.
mean, I think it looked great.
it looks fantastic. They look brand new.
$3.
Yeah.
Whatever the can costs is well worth
Yeah.
it. Easy fix.
All right. Pond preservation, we talked about. The mailbox makeover, Mike spoke about. Entrance rehab, we're discussing what we can do to beautify the entrances. The Melbourne side, there are homeowners that the last few springs we've purchased flowers for, and they've planted them, they being one of them here. So Jenny and
Gene Schultz.
that's right, have taken it upon them, basically,
They offer their
they
time.
go out, they buy the flowers and whatnot, give us the receipts, we pay for the flowers and the materials, they spend all their time, they plant. So we're looking at what we can do to beautify the entrances on both sides. Obviously, no plans yet, because that'll be a spring or summer type thing, but we're looking at doing something with that moving forward. Next thing that we've spoken about and we're going to look into is kind of like we do with the sprinkler line blowouts, the winterizations, how we have a sign up where the homeowners can do that. And, you know, Rick will come out and hit all the houses. We're talking about the possibility of finding some lawn care company that would do the same type of thing. Now, granted, the timing of it would be different, and we'd have to figure out the logistics, but basically saying, look, if we can get you to come out here for 3, 4, 5 days, whatever it is, and then we'll kind of do a spreadsheet type thing, and someone can just go from house to house to house, and we can fill a day with whatever items they have. Now, if it's some huge project, obviously that's not going to work, but we thought that would be a quick and easy way that we might be able to knock out a few homes all at the same time and bring, you know, if we're talking about the 12 homes or whatever, bring a lot of those right back up to where they need to be.
Or like the tree stumps, like tree
Yeah,
stumps is a big
right.
thing.
And again, obviously, that's something that the homeowners have to be willing to do, but if it's something they're willing to do and we can get a company to come in and do that, then we would certainly try to set that up and go from there.
Right, it probably wouldn't be a flat rate, so we'd have to talk to
Right.
them on how they would go about bidding
Yeah.
each homeowner set up.
Yeah. It would certainly be a little more complicated, but we thought that might be a quicker and maybe easier way to help people get back up to the standards that they need to be at. So with that, anything else for the vision section that you guys have? No? All right, so we head into number 5, the new business and the homeowners' comments. And, first up, I assume just means, is there anyone that would like to speak?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so anyone have their 2 cents to put in?
Kind of already changed, sure.
Yeah, I was,
Anybody
now's it.
but Mr. Brown.
Anybody else have anything to
Anything
say?
else, Mr. Brown?
I just, I think it would be good though for, and I understand you can't talk about details of each specific home, but the general timeline by which you guys are managing these issues too. How long does a typical homeowner get to resolve something? And, because some of them have been violating for years.
I mean, it depends, it truly depends on what it is. And then some, they get fined. And like I said, there's been times where they've been fined. One house in particular that's not bad now, but got fined twice. Cleaned everything up, good to go. Back to the same thing. So it's just sort of like the dog chasing its tail sometimes.
Is there a standard underneath the HOA guidelines that says you have to give a homeowner so long when they're a repeat offender?
I think the violation letter says 2
I
weeks.
say, I say
Um,
there's nothing we have explicitly in writing in front of us that says
Yeah.
it's this, and this.
I will say this summer, I mean, we sent the initial letter, just kind of like a reminder. The intention was then to keep following up. I was the one that was following up, and I will say that due to events in October, a lot of it got dropped on my ball. So we're kind of getting it back rolling again, and we're making it happen. And so we have letters going out this week for like we had Big 12, I guess is what we're calling it.
Yeah,
And
it's on all
then-
of us. It's not on you. It's on all of us.
Well, yeah, we do things as a group.
Come on.
Yeah, it's not just one person. But I was the one, I was kind of heading it up. But I'll take the blame this time. But we do have the intention though, like once those violation letters go out, like we send them, kind of like give it a week for the letter to get there and get their acting gear, and then kind of give it a 2 week. And then, so that's really like 3 weeks, really, I would say. Before then, we're like reevaluating it, and then another letter goes out, So I would say each letter would then stipulate a month, on our timeline. And that's if like, I will say school starting up is a time frame where like I can't do HOA stuff. Like that week it's a mess, and so there is some flexibility there, like holidays and things that may delay us. But I mean, this summer it was a huge list. I mean, it started out with 53 homes. And I will say after that initial letter went out, it went down to 27. So it jumped significantly. And I mean, and I saw people like within days, like it was almost like they just needed the like, oh crap, yeah, I'll just go pull my weeds in my front yard, So it's happening. It's just timely. But after the violation letters go through, I will say as far as like the liens and stuff like that, that's a very timely process, and that can be very time consuming, and we don't want to get there. And so we try to do whatever we can to not get to that point.
Like I said earlier, I mean, it's helpful if everybody, like if you see something, just shoot us an email.
Yeah.
Whether there's 1 or 5 or 10 or 20, and in all honesty, you may send them when we go out and say, I don't really know if that's worthy of a letter, but send them, right? Because if you're seeing things and we may not see them, or we haven't gone out and looked, by all means, right? That at the end of the day, there's 106 homes that want the same thing, or at least we hope they want the same thing.
Yeah.
So by all means, if you see things, send them. We'll sit down as a board, we'll discuss them, and if we think, yep, that one needs a letter, we'll get the letter sent, and we'll at least start that process. And again, this is not a one dog show, so listen, we all drop the ball on it, and we'll hit it again here, and then when spring rolls around, and spring is, at least we hope, the time where everybody's sort of invigorated, like you were just talking about. Spring's here, we're ready to go, we're outside, let's get after it. I think if we hit homes now and then really start to spring with the initial letter that we gave in the summer, we're ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I think definitely that reminder letter, it spurred action. So I think if that's even included with the dues, like how we, just a reminder like this, and then in the springtime, we'll definitely hit it harder. Your initial email definitely got us in motion and I don't know how often I drive through the neighborhood and I'm just blinders. I don't even look around, so like some of the one home that doesn't even have people living in it, like I just don't even notice it, so it's just, we want it to look nice, so it's.
And I think if we get a lawn care business on the books doing, we put up that spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Make it easy for people to just say, you know what, I don't have time, I'll fork out some money, clean up my yard.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be nice if like for like say 100 or 200 bucks, like do what you can do for me, you know, for the day or something, you know, that, especially if people can't do that themselves.
And then, you know, touching on some of the other issues you had brought up before, I think most everything that you spoke about as far as violations are in our letter list. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, I mean, like we said, we're not gonna say addresses, we're not gonna say where we're at, but you rattled off 3 or 4 things.
Yeah.
And they're all in the list of letters.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just know
Yeah.
that things are being done, it's just whether we
Yeah.
drop the ball or it's a slow process, but they're being addressed.
I appreciate it.
So,
Yeah.
well, I mean, that's for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Like we've had the same conversation and that it needs to go.
Yeah.
So, any other comments from
I
the?
have one.
Yes, sir.
I've noticed that there's several cars coming through the neighborhood, maybe even 40, 45 miles an hour. And you know, I don't want to throw a speed bump or anything like that, but are the roads still within the neighborhood or are they needed to be?
They're county roads, like you'll see the county plow. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there are roads to pay for,
Okay.
but the county will maintain them. So they're county roads. With that said, I mean, if we wanted to throw up a slow down, children at play, that sort of thing, I don't know what good it would do.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it actually maybe additional stop signs at each of the cul-de-sacs.
I mean, we can, that's definitely a county question. I mean, we can ask, even if they put one in.
Like
So, like-
especially the long straightaways, is that
Yeah.
what? Yeah, you know that
Like,
they
so
are
if you
really
look
long.
like if you look at the Sydney side, if you threw one at like Victoria, and if you look at the Melbourne side, if you threw one at Fremantle, I
Either
mean,
one,
they're
yeah.
kind of offset,
They're
but
on the
something
side.
like to at least break it up. I would be all for that. I think that'd be great.
Yeah,
Especially, oh, go ahead, Mike, I'm sorry.
No.
No,
Oh,
you're
okay.
saying-
I
He
mean,
was agreeing.
especially with what happened in York Meadows, is that what it was? Obviously, we don't want anything like that to happen. We just said there aren't many kids, but that could just as well be an adult, right? There's always people out walking and riding bikes, so we can absolutely
Call Mark McCullum.
call Mark, and he'll tell us to
He
call
will
somebody
not-
else.
yeah.
And and we'll go from there.
We had
Yeah.
him on speed dial.
He hangs
But
up
no,
on-
I absolutely. If we can look into that, I think that would be great.
He's the Washtenaw County Road Commissioner or Road Engineer, something like
He's
that.
a
He
road
works for
guy.
the Washtenaw County Roads.
He's the traffic circle guy.
Yeah, yes.
Don't bring it up to him though.
Yeah.
So, I've noticed it, I don't know if you guys have been in Saline Estates recently, but when you first pull in, I believe it's Dancer, Dancer or something.
Where's
that side.
Where's Saline Estates? Which
Saline
one is
Estates
that?
right
Bemis
across
and
from
Moon,
Washtenaw
northeast.
Christian Academy,
Okay.
right on Moon.
Okay.
So when you pull in, the second house on the right has a, Washtenaw County put it up, it's a flashing light that will tell you your speed limit if you're going over 25 or 30.
Oh,
flash to get
yeah,
your
okay.
attention. And I was in there the other day and immediately it caught my attention, whoa, I better slow down.
Okay.
So I was thinking that might be something that we could maybe look into. It's
Like a solar speed limit
Yep,
sign?
solar activated, I don't know if it's permanent or if it's something you can move around every 6 months in the neighborhood to a different
Yeah.
location. But it is something that definitely caught my eye, and I've had other people mention it, like, oh yeah, we got this like thing in our neighborhood, it slows down the teenage drivers, and
Right.
so it might be something that we can think
I
about.
know the one on Willis as you come into Saline.
Mm. Yeah.
That-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing
Just
like
like
a
that.
50 and then I see it and I have to slam on the brakes
Uh-huh.
every
Yep.
time.
What's funny is
I
it's
think it's a great
35
idea.
there
Yeah.
anyways, and I'm always
well-
going 50.
Well before.
Yeah.
We've got
That's a
few-
good idea.
Yeah, we've got a few options. I think we should definitely.
We'll look into it.
As a priority for.
I actually like the
Because
stop
you know,
sign.
I
I'd rather
did
have a stop
encounter
sign.
some really speedy drivers this week, even when I was out walking, and they're not cars I've ever seen in our neighborhood, so they're probably pass-throughs, and I even noticed that they would come down Melbourne and then go back up Fosdick, and then go back out Moon, so they were kind of just doing a little
Drop
circle
off or
kind-
something.
A loop.
Yeah, and super fast and loud
Mhm.
mufflers, and
Yeah.
I've never seen them in the neighborhood before, but they were going about 45 or 50, quite fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I
And
love
then-
the stop sign idea.
Yeah, so it might be an idea, just looking to see if Washtenaw County will come out and put one in.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering when the Fosdick, if that gets paved from the subdivision, how much more traffic?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Like people cutting through our neighborhood to get to their neighborhood, coming from the highway?
Yeah, it's gonna be a
That'd
mess.
shortcut.
Have we heard if it's gonna for sure get paved?
I mean, I would assume so.
I would assume from the entrance to Bemis for sure. I'm not sure about coming to us though.
We hope not.
I don't want it to.
Right. I mean, it would be nice.
Yeah.
The way it's written, we'd have to pay for it.
Right.
Then you're
So we don't want any part of that. No.
I'm sorry, say it again. I missed it.
No, I agree. I mean, when the new neighborhood goes in, they're gonna be coming down Elmwood.
Yeah, definitely.
Cutting through, possibly, from the highway.
Avoid the dirt road, take the paved as far as they can.
Well, I can ask Mark McCullough.
Yeah,
That's
that's a good one.
there.
I think the proposal is still on the township website. It just takes forever to find it.
I've got one for the group that I'm curious about. Our dues, we're at $300 a year.
Mm-hmm.
We struggle with the budget a little bit. We're at $20,000 right now, which we feel is a good minimum to keep at.
Well, and we have to keep a certain minimum though too. Do you remember what the percentage?
There's not an amount, it's a percentage, but we're fine there. It's
Yeah, it's much
10%, but
Yeah.
Do you guys feel that we've only raised it once in 17 years from 250 to 300? Do you guys feel that's a the right amount, or would you? What if we were to suggest going higher? What would your reaction be? Just curious to see what the.
I mean, for me personally, it would bother me a bit, as long as we saw the results.
Do things with it.
Why don't we look and see what some of the other neighborhoods are, you know?
We are
comparable
significantly low.
Yeah, I knew
com-
we were low
yeah.
before, but I didn't know we were so low.
Yeah.
I think York Meadows is 450 or something like that.
Not too. Yeah. No, a little bit. Yeah.
We did look when we were raising it. We looked into it. I don't remember the numbers off my head, but I do remember we were way low
Because
for the
I
neighborhood.
worked on getting the cracks sealed in the road, and that was like
Yeah.
a 1.5-year project in itself. And when the guy was finished up, he said, "You need to do this in another 5 years, or you'll be right back to where they just were."
Yeah.
And that was a big chunk of change, so that's why
Yeah,
we raised
that
the
was the
dues
raise.
to save up that chunk to do the roads again, because Washtenaw County won't touch the roads. They're like, you're the last on our list of to-dos.
Yeah.
We'll never see any money.
Even though it's county road. That's why we also snowplow, because we're last on the list.
All the preventive maintenance is really important. The last thing you want to do is resurface the entire place.
Right.
We
That
can't
would
afford
fall
it.
off.
You know, the ponds, I mean, all those types of things are all really kind of critical for the
Yeah.
long term of the subdivision. So, to me, whether it's 50 or 100 or 150 more,
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
going to protect your value.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll do a little survey out there, and then maybe we'll.
I think the good news is that you have 100% compliance, so people are paying the bill.
We're-
Yeah.
So,
And that's work.
They can afford it.
Mike
so
works really hard on that.
$50 isn't gonna, or $100
Yeah.
yeah, we don't get them all April 1st. Like, we would like,
It's a year process, and then it starts again.
We chase them down.
Adding the website pay option.
Pay option was
That helps.
nice.
Make it easier.
Okay. It's good.
Anything else? All right. If not,
So I have a question
Oh, yeah.
about
Yeah.
the compliance. The house on Sydney apparently have that nice garden in front, and it's been there for years, ever since we moved in 2004.
Which one?
has the what? I'm sorry.
You mean
Well,
the rain garden?
It's sarcastic,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Rain garden,
Oh,
yeah.
I was like, I don't remember a nice garden.
Yeah, so it's always been bothering me, but I know I reached out in the past and pretty much was blown away, like, this is it, take it or leave it, kind of, sort of. But how in the world that it still exists? The
Kill-
rain garden thing?
Are you talking phase 1 or
He's talking on the rain
Rain
garden.
garden,
It's over by
Sydney,
it,
yeah.
yeah.
City Court? Or,
Yeah.
It's right
Well,
by
just
Melbourne,
east of
Sydney,
Fosdick.
almost to
Got
Fosdick.
it. Okay.
Yeah, it's the second house.
Yeah, it's like
from Morton.
422, I think. it
So
is.
why is there was exception, and why do we have to keep it as a standard for a community when, you know, how is it even possible to have some sort of rain garden in front of the house like that? I mean, in my opinion, it's bizarre.
I can't speak to how it started or
Yeah,
what was
it's
approved
been
or
a
what
long
wasn't
time.
approved. What we found or I found when we've looked into it, because I'm on your side, I'm not a huge rain garden fan, or specifically that rain garden fan. But it's certified by the county or state or somebody, and like it's
Yeah, it's registered.
It's there, and that's it. And I'd have to go back and look again as to the whom or the what it's registered or certified with. But that is the information that I found when I was looking, because when we moved in, I thought this, I'm like, I don't even know what this is.
That's pardon me, that is a question, like, they can't update their signs or just make it, because I run past it every
Mhm.
day, and at first I was like, is this odd? And then I saw there's like one little sign,
Yeah.
like, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get what they're doing, but like, there are prettier ways
Yeah.
of doing it, like
yeah.
labeling the plants, what their pictures are, I think would be a little, at least, when you're walking by, it makes it, I know it's not aesthetic,
Yeah.
but I guess what I'm saying is there's no way, I've seen other people's rain gardens where they label every plant
Yeah.
and tell us the,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know, Latin name and what the purpose is. So that's kind of like, I'm wondering,
Yeah.
because there's only one little thing
Yeah.
all the way at the bottom.
The tiny little, like,
And it's
blue
been,
or something.
and Michael, it's been there a long time. I mean, I've only
Right.
been in the neighborhood
Yeah,
6
well,
years, so,
yeah, ever since
Yeah.
so it's definitely aged, you know, so maybe it's something we talk with them about it.
Maybe it needs to be updated some sort.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see, we
I
can.
mean, 'cause she's out there all the time, you know, so I know she's maintaining it, whether or not,
Is she getting a tax break for that?
no, it's purely just, it's just an environmental thing. Yeah, it's just registered within the county. It's kind of like butterfly gardens. You can register them, and it's just like, I have a butterfly garden, you know, so. But,
I don't know anything about plants, I just know it looks crazy, but I just
It-
accepted it. So.
it's definitely out of control, I guess, is the way, you know, because, like, I'm with you. Typically, when you see a rain garden, it's a little bit more maintained.
Maybe we can have her, we can send a letter asking her if she
So
can
those people
manicure
are
it.
neighbors that I can tell you that about a year ago, they were in a really bad car accident where they were in the hospital for 6 months. So that's part of the reason.
The person with the rain garden got in the car.
Yeah,
accident?
I was not aware of that. That explains why I didn't see her walking.
2004,
Yeah.
and it was just like that. So, Mike, you moved in before we moved in, right?
Possibly. We've been
Yeah.
here 15 years, I think.
Yeah, okay. So I just remember the house. It was one of kind of like, how's it even possible?
Yeah, it's always been there.
Well, and I've been here 6 years, and it's definitely not improved in the
Yeah.
time that I've been here, you know, so. Okay.
And there has to be some guidelines for a rain garden.
I know there is one when you install it and submit it and get certification. I'm not sure of as far as the maintenance of it and regulations. I've looked into it, but it's been a few years, so we can follow through on it.
So.
Thank you, Michael.
Just briefly, what I jotted down, we're gonna ask about Fosdick, if that's gonna be paved all the way for that sub. See whether or not people are gonna be cutting through
Yeah.
the sub. See if we can get a flashing speed limit sign. Maybe one for each side,
Or a stop sign.
or stop signs.
Yeah.
We can ask, I doubt. We can ask. And then we can look into guidelines for a rain garden and see if she can maybe
Yeah.
manicure that just to hear more.
Yeah.
And also, do survey, just kind of research.
Right.
Yeah.
I have on here about checking the free checking account at Old National business account.
I have
Okay, you got
that.
that, Mark? Okay.
Where are they in Saline?
On
They're-
Maple.
They're by the
By
post
the
office.
post office.
Probably, yeah, right across
Other side of
the
post
street
office.
from the post office.
Yep. Nice and close.
Yeah,
That's where I had my Girl Scout account, so they
Okay.
were nice to work with.
good.
All right. Anything else from anybody?
No.
All right.
Yeah, I would
think
assume
that's
that
all.
subdivision's probably gonna pave from the middle of our sub out to Bemis, but then that rest will be dirt. And I know when the factories let out, that people getting to the highway.
Oh,
kinda
they
through our
cut
neighborhood.
through like crazy.
Some of them do like 70 down Fosdick to get
Yeah.
to Willis and then hang a left. But that new subdivision, all those people moving in there, if they're coming from the freeway direction, they're probably gonna cut right down Melbourne and do the jog to their sub, which is gonna.
That might be nice to have the stop signs and the
just to make
speed
it
limit signs
annoying
just
for
to make it
them.
annoying more than anything.
You can always have the gentleman that's a state cop just park his patrol vehicle.
Right, right.
It did not help the people steal the tires across the road from him though.
Fosdick, Sydney and Melbourne too. Make it a three-way stop.
We'll throw everything at Mark and see
I
what he
like it.
says.
I
Yeah.
like it. Whatever we can do.
More stop signs. Last night I was out walking, flashlight and everything going down the city, right in front of Miguel's house. And the car, this van, just came zooming through there about 40 miles an hour and literally was about a foot and a half from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be another thing, we send a reminder to wear reflective clothing if they're walking at night, because I have come very close to people without even realizing it.
Do you
Going
drive
through
a
the-
van by chance?
I do not drive a van. You know what I
Chances
drive.
are the people that are speeding all the time.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
But I mean, it was definitely, and as soon as I went by them, I of course knew who it was, and I mentioned to my husband to say something to them that they were all in all black, walking at night. So it was scary.
All right.
But
Anything else?
anything
from
else,
anybody?
guys?
All right. I thank you all for coming, and we will adjourn the meeting at 7:38 p.m.
Yeah, Elizabeth. Thank you. Yeah, what's up?
I see one over by Boston, because there was a non-plastic one, a big old crate.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to walk on it?
Yes, yes. So the pond by Fosdick, it's just on one side. So we have Fosdick and Willis, and then the pond kind of area. There's definitely a path here, and it comes out along the road, and then here's our, like the,
Yeah,
and the, this is Mel. So there's definitely a pond, yeah. If you walk on this side of the pond, you'll walk right into it. So this part will be grass.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's like little weeds, and then there's the field.